Hi friends, I'm so happy you're here for another episode. This is a very exciting episode for me because if you've been here for more than just a couple months, you'll know that this was one of the 2024 goals that I set for myself for this year. I am almost finally ready to start my Menacing Loon blanket. So if you're new here, I had set myself the goal to make something that I could submit for a crochet competition at the Minnesota State Fair this year. Last year, Minnesota, which is where I live, went through the process of selecting a new state flag. And all of the submissions were from just people sending in their designs. And obviously there could only be one winner, but there were a bunch of designs that were really, really cool. And I especially liked this one, which is a loon, because loons are the state bird of Minnesota. So what I'm going to be making for the Minnesota State Fair competition is a blanket. We're already a quarter of the way through the year, and I'm finally just now getting started. But to be fair, the design portion, as you can see, went through a few different versions. I started with this little small boy. He's very, very cute. Obviously, this was way too small, so I enlarged it. This was the one that I was actually planning on using, but then I knitted a gauge swatch, and with my calculations, I believe, hopefully I did them right. I believe that if I were to have made this just the way that it is, I still would have had enough yarn to double, like make this twice as big, and I'll still have enough yarn to make it. So I went ahead and I doubled it, and this is the final result. And it's so large that I actually can't show the whole thing. So yeah, here is my final design. And I've already started it. It looks like a mess, because obviously it's just a little strip. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm so sorry. So here we have what I have so far. So the reason why I said earlier that this is almost finally ready is because I got to the point where I needed to do this bit. Let me zoom in. Based on the original design, this is actually supposed to represent the Braille way of writing 1858, which is the year in which Minnesota was founded, or whatever. So this is supposed to be like pound or hash tag, I suppose, I don't know. So this is supposed to be pound. This is 1 pound 8 pound 5 pound 8. So initially, what I thought would be really cool was if I made the bits in the Braille that are supposed to be more raised up, if I made them like really, really chunky, like 5 to 6 puff stitches. And then the less raised bits would be 2 to 3 smaller puff stitches. So I started the blanket, I got to this part, none of my puff stitches were looking very good. I undid it and redid it a bunch of times. I finally made a swatch so I could decide what the heck I'm doing. And I'm so happy that I did. So this is the swatch that I made. In the way that I had originally thought of it, each one of these little raised, like the more raised bits of the Braille, are between 5 and 6 stitches. So they would have looked something like this top one, which I don't know about you guys, but to me it looks like an irritated butthole, you know? It's so ugly. So yeah, I'm definitely not doing that. So down here, if I can hold this straight. So down here I have a single puff stitch when I have 6 loops on the hook before the final pass, and the one up here is 5 loops before the final pass. So what I'm thinking, because I really like the way that it looks, is I still need to modify this yet again, so there's only one stitch for each of the little raised bits. So I need to do that, but once I get that done, I'm finally gonna be ready to just be done with the preparation and just get on with the crocheting, which is arguably the most fun part. So yeah, that is I would have really hoped to have something more substantial to show you guys, but whatever, it is what it is. So how this mini series is gonna work, because I'm making a mini series, this is a very long-term project. It's gonna take me at least I'm expecting this will take me at least 3 to 4 months. I needed to not take it more than 4 months because the state fair begins at the end of August. So for me to have this, submitted for competition, I need to hand it over, I think, by the beginning of August or mid-August, It's already April 4th today, so I need to get moving. But it's going to be very fun. It's only going to be single crochets the whole way with just color changes. What's not going to be fun is going to be to try to manage all of the colors and not getting all mixed up with each other, but that is life when you're making a color work crochet blanket. So let me show you the colors. The yarn that I'm using for the entire project is this Lion brand Respun. It is, the tag says that it is made out of 100% post-consumer recycled polyester. It has a logo from a company called Global Recycled Standard. Hopefully they're legit. I have no idea who they are. I've never seen this logo before. Hopefully it's not greenwashing and they're legit, but in any case, I saw the yarn. I saw that it was made out of 100% post-consumer recycled polyester, and I thought that was very cool, and they had all of the colors that I needed. For the loon, I have it attached to the project, but for the loon, I'm gonna use this almost charcoal black. It's called Raven. For the white, this one's also attached. Is it? No, it's not attached anymore. This one is the color Parchment. It's not a true white. It's almost like a old paper kind of white, almost yellowy. Then for the beak, I have two colors. I haven't decided which is gonna be the upper part, which is gonna be the bottom part of the beak. But in any case, the gray is called Silver, and this almost brownish one is called Hazelwood. It's like an almost grayish brown, to be honest. It's somewhat close to the gray. For the eye, I had to buy a whole ball. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I only need it for the eye. But this one is called Amber. It's a very, very gaudy orange. And then for the blue, I have this really bright blue called Fjord, and the deep blue is called Deep Denim. Very beautiful colors. These honestly were what convinced me that I needed to buy this yarn to make this project. They're just so gorgeous. They're beautiful colors. So the plan for these mini-series of my Menacing Loon blanket vlog, just documenting it as I'm working on it because it's going to be very long term. Today, I'm just showing you what yarn I'm using, what the final design is, all of that good stuff before I start finally working on it. I would have preferred to have something more substantial, like actually crocheted and set up, but then sometime maybe in late June or early July, I'll come up with an update. I'm gonna show you how far along I am. Then the last episode, so it's gonna be a 3-parter. The last episode is gonna be by late September, because or maybe early September, I'm not sure, because at that point the Minnesota State Fair would have ended. I would already know, like, did I do well in the crochet competition? Did I not? And then I also think it would be really fun for me to show you guys what the Minnesota State Fair is like, because personally, I think that the Minnesota State Fair is one of the best things about living in Minnesota. It's just so freaking fun. Although, granted, I am the type of person where I do enjoy being in crowds. I could absolutely see how people that don't enjoy crowds would steer away from the entire area for those couple weeks. But for myself, I love the Minnesota State Fair. I love the crowds. I love trying all of the new foods. It's just such a great time. It's so much fun. And it's always so fun to go into their arts building, where they display every single one of the knitting submissions that people do for competition. So all of the knitting submissions, all of the crochet submissions, the quilting, the woodwork. They have so many categories for different crafts, and they make an active effort of displaying everything. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite things to do at the state fair is to say, okay, today I'm going to just go to the arts building, and that is like my main focus of the day, is to just look at as many crafty submissions as I can. Yeah, I hope you guys are excited about this. I know I for sure am. And if I were to leave it here, it would be way too short of an episode. So I also want to talk real quick about my next project that I'm gonna be working on. So I'm recording this on April 4th. This video is gonna come out on April the 8th, which is when the eclipse is happening in the United States. I'm gonna be driving out to Illinois, Indiana. Depending on the weather, we might even just drive even farther out and go to Ohio. And we're gonna go see the eclipse. I am so pumped. I've never seen a total solar eclipse. When the last one happened in 2017, I was not able to take time off to travel to go see it. So I was able to see a partial eclipse from where I was living at the time in Minnesota. But I'm gonna be driving to the path of totality. I'm so pumped. But I can't bring a blanket project on the road. I mean, I'm gonna have to bring at least 4 colors so that I can get some like real progress on this. I am absolutely not about to try to manage 4 balls of yarn in a colorwork crochet project. No. So I have swatched for a new project. So I know that when I talked about my spring knitting plans, I had mentioned the Pie Camisole by Nabita Durrett, and I mentioned the Helianthus by Andragon. Here's the thing. I actually started spontaneous project a couple weeks ago for some mittens, because I don't know, it was cold, there was a snowstorm, and I decided I wanted some mittens. I decided I wanted to make some mittens, so I did. And I had to stop for a few days because I think I was starting to give myself like a repetitive motion injury on my thumb. So I had to stop knitting completely. Even crocheting this, it didn't trigger the pain as much as the knitting did, but it was still like uncomfortable. So I had to take a break of like 3 days or 4 days, which was torture. You know what I'm talking about. It was stressful because I had nothing to do. So the gauge of the mittens is very close to the gauge of the pie camisole. And it made me scared of, can I knit the pie camisole? Because it has an extremely small gauge with teeny tiny needles, and even the needles. So I had swatched with a 2.75 millimeter needle, and I still was not able to hit gauge. I would have need to go even further down to hit gauge. So I got scared. I got scared that I would start the pie camisole and I would not be able to finish it if working with such small needles and gauge was going to give me pain. So, I can do the helianthus. The helianthus has a larger gauge, but I don't want to be messing with more than one ball of yarn on the road trip that we're about to go on. So I had to decide on a new project to work on. And I don't know how, but I found this designer. Her name's Dora Violet. She goes by Witching Hour Knits. And she has this, she's calling it a sweater, but I'm going to call it a top because it's really just like a long sleeve top. It is so freaking gorgeous. I still think that this would work because yes, it is, long sleeves, so it would still work to just cover myself a little bit for, it's not fully hot outside, but it is very open knit. It almost looks like a mesh, so I think it would still be very good for when it is actually warm and I want to just wear something that's a little breezier. I had to swatch on like 3 or 4 different yarns until I finally figured out which yarn I'm using. This is a yarn that I bought on clearance in Joann's. Who knows how long ago? It's been a long minute. It might have been at some point in 2023, honestly. So it's by Knit and Crochet. It's a hand-dyed 100% cotton fingering weight yarn. And I bought it because when has there ever been something like this in Joann's, right? It's crazy. I'm not a big fan of the color. So it's fingering weight and it's 100% cotton. So I just had to snag it. I have 2 of these, so I have 200 grams of it. They are 472 yards each. So I have enough yarn to make this top. And I am so happy with the swatch that I was able to knit up. I mean, I don't know how well that's gonna show, but it just looks so good. It looks so good. So like I mentioned, I'm not a big fan of the color, but considering it is 100% cotton, I'm just gonna over dye it. So I don't have enough time to dye the yarn itself before I knit it up into the top before our road trip. We're leaving on Saturday the 6th. So I'm just gonna knit up the proper sweater and then I'll over dye it once it's done. It's my first time ever doing that, so wish me luck. I'm going to make a video of just this. So this should be coming out maybe by the first new moon of May, because it's a small project. Hopefully it won't take me so long to finish it. So yeah, I'm super excited about this project. It's gonna be really fun, and hopefully that's not gonna flare up my pain while still allowing me to knit up this super adorable sweater. So this is gonna be my solar eclipse road trip project. I'm really excited for it. It's also going to be my birthday project because my birthday is in a few days. So yeah, I'm really pumped. I'm really excited. And I hope that you guys are excited too. I think that this is going to be a lot of fun. This is a designer that I've never really heard anyone talk about. It is a size inclusive pattern. The sizes go from 30-inch widest part of your bust to a 60-inch widest part of your bust. It is a bit of a spendy pattern. It's $10, but let's be real. Designers put so much work into their patterns just to sell it for like $3 to $5. That's just not sustainable. I'm willing to pay the full price for a well-written pattern, and her pattern I thought was really detailed for all of the different sizes that she provides. So I've also gone through all of the projects. There's not a lot of people who have made this sweater before, but everyone, maybe because only 40 people have made the project, I have gone one by one. I've read all of the notes. No one has really said anything negative about it. So I have high hopes that this is going to be a top that I'm going to be able to love the heck out of, and it's going to be a great little souvenir, little reminder of the road trip that we were about to go on for the eclipse and my birthday celebrations and all that good stuff. So I hope that you guys are excited about this project, and I hope that you're looking forward to watching me work on my Menacing Loon blanket. It's going to be a blast. I'm so excited to see the final result on that as well. And I hope that you have some... Okay, I'm going to rephrase that. Do you have any plans to see the solar eclipse? If you're not driving to the path of totality, are you still going to try to watch it from home, even if it's a partial eclipse? If you're not, I'm going to say it right now. On the 2017 eclipse, I stayed in Minnesota. I watched the partial eclipse, and it was still so freaking cool. So get yourself a couple glasses. I know that there's a few companies out there that are giving out free glasses right now. So go snag some of those up. Go watch even if it's just the partial eclipse, if you're in the United States, do it. It is so worth it. And let me know if you have any spring knitting plans that you're finally getting started on. I would love to know all about it on the comments. I hope that you guys are having a good day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!